Yo, people, welcome back to another stream. Yeah, I'm back. I'm here with debutant on the channel, aka Danny, aka Fight Fan TV. How are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm all good, man. Welcome, guys. It's Danny Glover, aka the Master Aficionado from Fight Fan TV Live. I'm all good. We're here in the building. We're here with my boy, and we're gonna get to chop it up.
Yeah, it's a big show, boys. It's a big show. Chris's evening, Chris. This we're going to discuss um, a few topics you don't really like about YouTube boxing. We're going to get into that, but yeah. But before we get into everything that's going on in the world of boxing, um, how excited are you for next weekend? Of course, it's jo- Anthony Joshua versus Usyk. How excited are you for that fight?
Hmm. Well, to be fair, it hasn't really had much promotion, so I'm not as excited as we should be, really, because even this week, it seems the week's been taken over by the announcement of and the press conference of Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn. But regarding the Anthony Joshua Usyk fight, I am very intrigued now to see the result because I see a training video of Anthony Joshua just yesterday, and it seems like he's been working on the same kind of combination punches as Richard Riakporhe, and it looks like he's aiming to go to the body on Usyk and try and do some damage on himself. Uh, so, but I've still got Usyk as the favourite to win next week, but I do really hope that Anthony Joshua does win. But the build-up does need to be more prevalent because it hasn't really been promoted that well over here in the UK.
Yeah, definitely, and that is a big fight. But good thing you mentioned that Chris Eubank Jr. fight because that's the next topic. Of course, Chris Eubank Jr. versus Conor Benn, and loads of emotions in there for both fights, for both boxers, and it's slowly building up, but huge climax when they face off. But do you think Conor Benn stands a chance to take this W?
Absolutely, he stands a chance. He's very explosive, very good work rate and engine. He's bringing Chris Eubank Jr. down to a weight he's never actually weighed in before as a professional. Eubank Jr. says he hasn't weighed this weight since he was 18 years old. So 157 pounds will be a struggle. Plus, there is a rehydration clause, which may also affect Eubank Jr.'s output of his performance with the rehydration clause. So Conor Benn does have a chance on outworking him. I don't think he can really hurt Eubank Jr. because he's very tough and got his dad's chin, but he can outwork him and set a work rate which Eubank Jr. might not be able to keep up with and take it on a points victory. But the the bookies and the majority of people are still going to say that Eubank Jr. should be too big, too strong, too experienced, too with his new boxing skill set now under Roy Jones Jr. Even though he wants his dad senior in the corner for this fight, he should be too big, too strong for Conor Benn. So it's very exciting times.
Yeah, and if that's true. When does that fight take place?
October the 8th.
October the 8th. So just
02
after,
Arena.
yeah, so just after the KSI fights. The,
Yes.
so,
Yes, that's
so,
right.
so yeah, Chris says he's intrigued and excited by Usyk versus Joshua fight Actually, it's also have a coin which way it will go. Early
Mm.
prediction on your gut feeling now. Who do you think is going
Usyk.
to win?
I think
Usyk.
Usyk. Yeah, I think Usyk. What about yourself?
Usyk. Got to go with Usyk. I know OTC won't be happy about that, but yeah, Usyk is Usyk.
Yeah.
Uh, Chris is. I hope and beg Conor Ben wins. Fair enough. He says. I don't particularly like Eubank Jr. That's all I am saying.
But why don't
Chris,
you like Eubank Jr.? That is the question. Why don't you like him?
yeah, that's a question, Chris. He says, unfortunately, I think Eubank should win, which pains me to say, but I think Ben wins personally. But why don't you like Eubank Jr.? Why? Why? Um, but to throw a bit of sadness um, into a story, of course, Tyson Fury has said he is retiring from boxing. Don't know how long he will be retiring from boxing. Maybe he will come back, maybe not. Um, but it's very young age in boxing. He is retiring. I know it's almost the same age as Usyk right now, 34 years old today. Um,
He's younger than Usyk. Usyk's about 30, 36, 37.
yeah, so he's even younger. So yeah, it's sad, but then again, it's his choice. But on a positive note, happy birthday to Tyson. Happy birthday.
Yeah. Well, it was
Yeah,
interesting because he was calling out Derek Chisora just the other day for a trilogy fight, so I thought something may have happened with that. But now he's announced his retirement, so I just wonder now, is Mauricio Suleiman from the WBC going to, demand him to vacate the title or strip him of the title? Now he's um, officially wrote a letter to retire, and who will be the new two guys to step up for the vacant belt? Could it be the new fight which might be made, which is shortly going to be announced with Deontay Wilder versus Robert Helenius? Is it going to be, who could it be? So that would be interesting to see.
yeah. Chris is 20th time Tyson Fury has retired.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Chris says he doesn't like Eubank Jr. because he's too of a smug and arrogant for his liking. Do you agree? He's a bit too arrogant.
No, I think people say that because of his dad, and I think he's getting a lot of the backlash from his father's behavior. But him himself, yes, he's a very confident guy. Who wouldn't be? But I don't think he's smug and arrogant. Conor Ben has some smug and arrogance about him just as much as Chris Eubank Jr. He plays the hard man and tries to, he talks very tough and pulls all these angry looking faces and stuff like that and talks like, who wants it, crushing it. So every fighter's got a bit of an ego inside of them, but I don't think Chris Eubanks is any more uh, bigger or worse than a lot of the other fighters out today, to be fair. I think a lot of it is due to his father, and I think he's taking a lot of the flack for it, unfortunately.
Fair enough. Um, I don't really know much about him. Um, so yeah,
Mm.
Chris says the belt should be vacated. Fury's messing around now. You retire, Fury. So yeah, he is messing around. I also think that the belt it's it should be vacated, and then the top, the who's even next in line should take it. So yeah, I think so. Do you think the belt should be vacated?
Yeah, I agree. It has to. If you're announcing your retirement on social media. So you've officially announced it, because one of my friends, he was moaning that he should have been stripped already. I was like, he only fought about 4 months ago. You can't strip him. I said, until he writes an official letter on social media announcing his retirement, then the president of the WBC can't do anything. And now he's done it today. I said, well, there you go. This is what you want. So now he needs to give it up and let let the active guys battle it out for it.
Yeah, and Chris is just mentioning two dream fights here: Fury versus Usyk and Fury versus Joshua. I think these are the two dream fights people wanted to see, especially Fury being still so young as a champion. Maybe Usyk and Fury could fight, put both the titles on the line. And we have this whole thing, and Joshua, he could contest for Fury spell. So yeah, it's interest. It definitely is two dream fights. Do you agree that
Yeah, they would have been good fights to see, especially if Usyk was to win next week. Then they could have the straight undisputed fight straight off the bat. But now Fury's gone and retired, that WBC is going to get vacated, and maybe Usyk's next fight, his next challenger, will be for that WBC belt. But it would have been good to have seen Fury do it. And then, of course, the Wembley Stadium fight would have always been Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua, which would have done massive numbers on the gate as well as pay-per-view. So, but I'm sure, I have a feeling Fury will be back. So hopefully he does them fights when he does come back shortly.
Yeah, that hopefully it comes back. Hopefully, but yeah, before we continue on some other topics, I just quickly in football news, championship news. Watford have beaten Burnley 1-0. So yeah, so go check out my championship prediction stream. Then you know if I'm correct or wrong. But I don't. I'm not going to say anything. Um, Chris, ask you a question. Where does Phil rank in the great, or is he up there with the great, despite not facing Joshua Usyk? I saw this on Chris's Instagram. He said something in the line. Phil isn't one of the greats because he didn't fight Usyk or Joshua. Where do you rank Fury? Is he up there with the greatest, or is he just a tier below?
Skill set wise, he's up there, but credentials and CV wise, he's nowhere near, because he's only actually made one defense of his belt, to be fair, against Dillian White. Two if you include when he defended it against Deontay Wilder in their third fight. But he hasn't really faced a bunch of challengers to be considered up there with the greats. So yeah, he can't. His CV, his resume is very thin and not stacked enough to be up there with the greats in history, in the annals of history, unfortunately. But he is a very good fighter.
Yeah, and I think Chris, I think Chris agrees with that point. Talent wise, is up there, but credentials, it doesn't have it. It's like you can be what? It's like Harry Kane. He can be the best striker in England, but if he doesn't win the Premier League or the Champions League, he, he can't it can't be like it doesn't have the credentials to be called the greatest England striker.
Exactly, because your curriculum vitae, i.e., your CV, does not have enough on the resume, on your paperwork, to warrant you being up there with the greats like Muhammad Ali, Larry Holmes, Mike Tyson, Joe Louis, Riddick Bowe, Evander Holyfield, Sonny Liston, Jack Dempsey, Jack Johnson, Rocky Marciano. These guys have all had Floyd Patterson. These guys have all had multiple defenses. These guys' CVs are very heavy compared to Lennox Lewis. So these guys have their CV is yeah. You can't compare someone like Tyson Fury, who's only fought what, Vladimir Klitschko, Deontay Wilder 3 times, and Dillian White. Come on.
Yeah.
Even Shannon Briggs has got a better CV than that. Come on.
Shannon, do you have a channel?
Yes, I do. Fight Fan TV Live, all one word, on YouTube and Instagram. Fight Fan TV Live. The logo will be black and red with a yellow boxing man to the side.
Fight Fan TV. Yeah. No, this is full. I will. Let me find it here.
Hannah will put the link in the description for you guys.
Yeah. Yeah, that's my point on my Instagram post. It can't be up there with the great cause, the greats have at proper challenges. I'm not saying Fury hasn't, but Fury hasn't had enough in my eyes. Yeah, and that is true. Let me see. Wait, I know a quicker way to do this. But yeah. Let's okay. There. Alright. I'll put the channel link now in the chat. I'll put it in the chat. Oh, Chris said, okay, just so, but I will also put it
Please.
in there.
Thank you very much, Chris. Much appreciated.
I'll put it now in the description. So yeah, then you guys can go over there and sub. Yeah, now let's talk a bit more about the Eubank Jr. fight. Of course, it had all this build up around it, and is it going to live up to expectations? That's the question. There's all this hype around Chris Eubank Jr., Conor Benn, that fight. It's been talked about for months. And is it going? Do you think it's going to live up to expectations?
I think it will, because Conor Benn always comes to fight. He's never in a dull fight, always explosive. Eubank Jr., in a lot of his early and mid type fights, he was very aggressive, throwing the fastest combinations ever. Now he's sort of kind of relaxed a bit and been a bit more savvy with his boxing, which a lot of people don't really tend to prefer. We prefer when he gets stuck in. So if he does the old Eubank Jr. style with Conor Benn style, then that's going to be absolute fireworks. But even if he does try to box, the way Conor Benn will fly at him will always make it an interesting and an exciting fight, in my opinion. I don't think it will be a thing where they're both holding or standing away, looking for the odd shot, trying to cancel each other out, trying to point score like amateurs. So it will be action-packed. I believe it will live up to the hype. And with the crowd roaring, their dads in their ear and in the corner, it's gonna trigger them both off, and they're gonna get busy, I believe.
Yeah, that's true. Chat, do you guys agree with that? You guys agree? Yeah. Ignore the link I put in the chat.
Have you watched much of Conor Benn and Chris Eubanks fights, Junior's fights?
Like I said, I'm new to boxing, so
Oh, okay. So did
ask me.
you watch Conor Benn versus Chris Van Heerden?
Who's Chris Van Heerden?
He's a South African boxer. You should know who he is.
Yeah, the surname sounds South African, but
Yeah.
but
That was Conor Benn's last fight against your boy, man.
what was it? Let's, was it?
Chris Van Heerden. HEERDEN, I believe.
No. Oh, I just quickly. No, there was a boxer, South African boxer knocked out. I want to see if it. Oh, it was. I know one South African boxer.
Who? Francois Botha.
No, there was a South African boxer. He was in the boxing ring, and he just got hit and he died.
Oh yeah, that was a different guy. Yeah, that was a different guy. That's not Chris Van Heerden.
Yeah. Yeah, Conor Benn. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Who fights?
Yeah. Just like Nigel Benn, his dad, he fought a South African boxer back in the day called Sugar Boy Malinga. Yeah. But that's long before your time, so I wouldn't expect you to know.
No. Chris says I'm a big boxing fan, so why not support other boxing channels? Yeah, that's completely true. Why not? Chris says I wanted Conor Benn to fight David Alvarez to test himself more, as much as I don't rate Eubank. This is a massive step up from who's been fought.
I agree. I wanted to see that fight as well after David Avanesyan knocked out Josh Kelly. I wanted to see that fight with Conor Benn, but for various reasons, it's just never come off. David Avanesyan is still the current European champion. But yeah, but also he's with Frank Warren, so that does make things a bit difficult. So yeah, but Conor Benn's in a big fight now. This Eubank Jr. fight is a lot bigger than if Conor Benn was to fight David Avanesyan. So you can't fault him.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, but if you have any questions, put it in the chat. I'm just trying to. Yeah, quickly. Yeah, but did you see what's happened with KSI's event with Alex Wasabi chickening out?
What happened? What happened?
So
my son told me something about it's cancelled. I don't know what happened.
So basically, last week, Alex Wasabi said he's pulling out because of a concussion, but there's rumors that it is other stuff. So yeah, and so Alex Wasabi KSI is not fighting Alex Wasabi.
Okay, so did this Alex Wasabi? Did he get this concussion in sparring, or how did he get it?
that I think what I've heard it's in sparring, but it
Okay.
might be something else.
They,
So
yeah.
and so they he found another guy swarms. I
Yeah,
don't.
Swarm. Yeah, I know him. He's an Instagram guy. He raps. Um,
Yeah.
that's gonna be entertaining because if this Swarms guy gets punched up, oh, it's gonna do a lot of damage for his reputation.
Yeah, it is. But then again, if he loses, it's going to be funny. It's going to be funny. If KSI loses, it's going to be funny. But
Yeah.
Chris says you just love canceling their fights. Now a question here from Chris. What is next for Anthony Joshua if he loses?
If he loses, wow, I don't know. Maybe the final fight with Dillian White, since they're one apiece. Dillian White beat him in the amateurs, and Joshua beat him in the pros. But then they can have one more to settle the score, I guess.
Maybe. Yeah. Um, Chris is, I think, gonna be one sensational fighter. I think Eubank Jr. has more to lose for
Hmm.
him. Yeah, I would say so. I also think so. Because Chris Eubank Jr. he has that pressure. Both have pressure, but I think Eubank Jr. because he's been a bit longer in the boxing world bubble. I think there's more pressure on him to deliver because I think it's now or never for Chris Eubank. If he doesn't perform this next two fights, I think his career might take a bit of a downfall. Um, but yeah,
Well,
your thoughts?
he said if he loses, he's going to retire. So
Well, if he wants to retire that quickly, he can. So yeah, that's yeah. Now, some other topics I have here. Um, Let me just get. Um, of course, um, Callum Johnson versus Joshua Batchi was announced for the EBU European Lightweight title. Um,
lightweight,
yeah, lightweight.
light heavy, light heavyweight.
Yeah, light heavyweight title. That. Um, I don't know any of these fighters. So, do you think um, it, what's your opinion on this fight going into it? Do you think it's going to be good?
Well, yeah, Callum Johnson is a former Commonwealth gold medalist. Joshua Buatsi is a former bronze medalist in the Olympics. Both are former British champions. Joshua Buatsi, his last fight, he just beat Craig Richards at the O2, narrowly on points in a very exciting fight that could have gone either way. Um, yes, Frank Warren won the purse bids for this fight for the European light heavyweight title, but I got news shortly after through my sources that the fight is not actually going to happen now because Eddie Hearn has also got some purse bid thing with Jean Pascal, the former super middleweight and light heavyweight champion, as a for an IBF world title eliminator for Joshua Buatsi. So Joshua Buatsi will actually be fighting Jean Pascal next. That's not been officially announced, but That's the word on the grapevine. And Callum Johnson will be fighting for the European title, but he hasn't got an opponent because Joshua Buatsi is not going to take that fight. But if that fight was to happen, it would have been a good fight because both are very aggressive and bangers. I would favour Joshua Buatsi in that fight due to his activeness. Callum Johnson has been riddled with injuries and setbacks and has not been very active and has not looked too good in his last couple of fights. Also, he's a bit older now. He must be about 37, 38. And yeah, I think the momentum would have been with Joshua Buatsi to stop Callum Johnson. But yeah,
fair enough. Yeah, fair enough. Chris is let's hope Conor Benn wins in that case. If that's the case, yeah. Chris, what's Danny's thoughts on Joe Joyce and Daniel? I'm excited to see more of them. Definitely, the future of boxing all goes right. So, what's your thoughts on Joe Joyce as a boxer and Daniel?
They don't want a war. They don't want a war with big juggernaut. Hey, so yeah, Joe Joyce. He's fighting Joseph Parker next. So I'm looking forward to that. And that's going to be a very good fight. That was actually meant to happen earlier this year, but Andy Lee or something like that was getting married or some reason why it got postponed, and then they had a different fight. But yeah, this fight I'm looking forward to. Joe Joyce versus Joseph Parker. Joe Joyce is a very good boxer, very tough, engine like crazy for a heavyweight. And Daniel Dubois, he just beat Trevor Bryan for the WBA regular title. Don King owes him some money. I think it's like 1.4 million. He still ain't paid him. Don King always ripping people off still, even at his big age, at over 90 years old. So it'd be interesting to see who Daniel Dubois has his first defense again. But Joe Joyce, as you saw, knocked out Daniel Dubois in the 10th round when they fought. So Joe Joyce is the better fighter if you're going by what they've done when they've fought each other. But yeah, both good heavyweights. Daniel Dubois is only 24 years old, very young heavyweight, but loads of years left in the tank. Joe Joyce is 36 years old now, so he's a lot older. He needs to get fast track, move forward, get going, get his world title shots. Daniel Dubois, he can take his time. Guys like him and Hughie Fury, Gerard Anderson, these young guys will be there for the future for sure. And yeah, I'm looking forward to what they've got going in their careers, man.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, that's true. Uh, Very good taste for Joyce. The Parker fights is Chris. And yeah, now let's me just get a few last question I had. Is it mm, oh right. What is wait, let me what is I can't remember the boxer's name. Wait.
What weight is he?
I think he's not heavyweight. I don't think he's heavyweight. Or maybe wait. He has that virtual
Ortiz.
thing. That yeah,
The
foot. Yeah,
boy. Yeah.
yeah. He fought. He boxed last weekend, I believe, and
Mm-hmm.
he came out victorious. Um, what was your thoughts on that fight?
Yeah, he boxed Michael McKinson. Um, Michael McKinson's from Portsmouth. Uh, has is quarter Jamaican. And that was a very tricky fight. I thought that Michael McKinson may have been able to pull off the upset. Same way I thought that Kavalauskas may have been able to pull off the upset. So to be fair, out of all the current young welterweights, Virgil Ortiz is the most proven and has had the toughest tests when you're talking about so far out of himself, Conor Benn, uh, what's his name, Boots Ennis, Jaron Ennis, and all the other young cats. So yeah, he's a very good. All wins by knockout. Um, Very exciting. Those body shots was just absolutely devastating. They was body breaking. it's, it, I'm very surprised how Michael McKinson was able to poker face for so long against those body shots. But in the end, those body shots they were doing some serious damage to him. But with Michael McKinson, you know what? He will bounce back and he'll be a problem, as his alias moniker says, in the British domestic scene for sure. I think he will clean up domestically if he goes for the British and Commonwealth type of titles. He'll definitely win those with his style and his skill set because he's a very talented young fighter. But yeah, Virgil Ortiz, definite future world champion. When Errol Spence and Terence Crawford move on, uh, Virgil Ortiz will definitely become a world champion. I'm very sure of that.
Yeah, fair enough, fair enough. Chris says, I had respect for Tyson Fury, but I have lost little respect now. Boy, he's been messing around to see if he's retiring or not, cause Mark the fight is good effort for the title if they vacated it by now. So Chris is angry. He doesn't like Fury. um, seems like, but we get your questions in. If there's any more questions, then get you have for Danny or for me, get them in. Um, so yeah, get them in the chat. But I will ask you two questions.
Hmm.
Um, First of all, how often do you shadow box?
How often do I shadow box? Um, I say at least for nearly every day. At some point every day, I do a little, you know, you know, you know. At some point every day, you got to get the guns in. You got to get the guns in.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. And and what is more important, fast footwork or fast hands?
What's more, fast footwork or fast hands? Hmm.
Chat, you can
I,
also answer this question.
I think. Hmm. Depends what type of style of fighter you are. For me, I'd prefer to have fast hands, but because fast footwork is good at getting you out of trouble, but that's if you're thinking quite pessimistically. But if you're thinking optimistically and positive, it's good to have fast hands, especially if you've got power, because then when you're landing, you're always gonna, more times than not, you'll be able to beat the other guy to the punch, and it's all about being like John Wayne. You got to pull the trigger faster.
Fair enough. Um, but Chris, what's more important, fast hands or fast footwork? Chris is that did you see YouTubers in boxing and listen, Danny? Beg. He wants you to get in the ring and teach him some lessons.
Oh, absolutely. If any of these YouTubers need a real coach, I'm licensed by the British Boxing Board of the Control, so I'm a licensed professional trainer. So if they need a real coach, if they want some real coaching, they can hit me up. They know where to. Well, they don't. They might not know where to find me, but hopefully they'll be able to find me and get in contact, and I'll be able to give them some good services for the right price. So yeah. And
Yeah.
if any other YouTubers feel like having a YouTube boxing match and feel like calling me out, um, I'll be happy to do so because I'm down for getting the bag and teaching them a lesson in that way also in the pugilistic fashion.
Fair enough. Chris says, yeah, question, what is next for Deontay Wilder?
Deontay Wilder, he is fighting Robert Helenius next. Um, Robert Helenius is from Helsinki, Finland, and yeah, Robert Helenius, he knocked out Adam Kalnacki last time out. From what I remember, he's knocked him out twice actually, and he's been on a good run. He knocked out someone else as well recently, so he's had some good knockout wins recently. Adam Kalnacki, but yeah, I expect Deontay Wilder to flatten him. But that's Deontay Wilder's next fight against Robert Lanius, and that could potentially be for the vacant WBC title if Tyson Fury, fully vacates or gets stripped by the WBC president Mauricio Suleiman.
Fair enough. Um, yeah, so one last question.
Mm-hmm.
Which is the best father-son duo? Chris Eubank Jr. or Cam, Campbell Ricky Hamilton or Julio Cesar Chavez as Jr. and Senior or Connor Nigel Benn?
I'd have to go with Julio Cesar Chavez Sr. and Jr. as both are former world champions. Both have won world titles. So, yeah. And Julio Cesar Chavez also is considered to be the greatest Mexican boxer in history. The only person who's going to come close now would be Canelo Alvarez. But yeah, right now, Julio Cesar Chavez is the king of Mexico still. Julio Jr., he's let himself down in recent years. He was having a good run at one point, but he's a former world champion. So because them two are both former world champions, none of the other duos, the son has become a world champion. The only other duo, I'd say the actual best, well, I wouldn't say best, but the only one that comes close would be Leon Spinks and Corey Spinks, because Leon Spinks beat Muhammad Ali in his 7th fight to become a world champion, and Corey Spinks was the undisputed welterweight champion, had all belts in the free belt until he lost to Zab Judah. Zab Judah is the last undisputed welterweight champion. But out of those duos you put, then it would be the Julio Cesar Chavez Senior and Junior.
Fair enough. Chris says, I'll coach these YouTubers in boxing to stay away from the sport. Do you agree with YouTubers being in boxing?
Yeah, because they're doing it in their own little lane. They're not crossing really over into the real professional game against the professionals where they would get themselves badly hurt. So they're doing it against each other in it. So it's a fair fight, really. Novice versus novice. Yeah. So yeah, I don't mind that.
And
Same way I don't mind the old guys doing it when he's like, Roy Jones versus Mike Tyson or some other old guys. As long as the old guys are fighting old guys, fight people within your age range and ability, and yeah, I'm cool with that.
fair enough. And Jake Paul versus Floyd Mayweather,
Yeah, but that's an exhibition. So Floyd was taking it easy on him. That was just an exhibition.
Oh, okay. So he was just taking it easy on. Right?
Yeah, that wasn't a real fight. That's not on box rec or nothing. That's just a little play around.
Fair enough. Yeah. Do you think Cesaro will retire now? He's getting his charity pension from Fury. He's not getting. So
Oh, no, because he'll look for one last payday somewhere else, and I think he'll look for the winner of Deontay Wilder versus Robert Helenius. He'd probably actually prefer Robert Helenius to win because he'll want to have that rematch because really he got robbed against Robert Helenius out in Helsinki um, back in the day for the European title. But Deontay Wilder will most likely win, and then Chisora will probably face Deontay Wilder and get a good payday. Um, but Deontay Wilder will knock him out. But guess what? He will leave with the bag and his retirement fund and live happily ever after. War Chisora.
fair enough. Um, yeah, and if there is any last questions, we'll wrap it up. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah. Oh, these few minutes, but do you have any questions for me or the chat?
Um, no, 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 I can't think of any. But next time when I come on, I'll have some questions prepared for you.
Okay, yeah. But yeah, chat. If you have any last questions? Doesn't seem like that. I'll wrap up. Yeah, Danny, shout out your channel.
And shout out to you, man. It's Danny Glover from Fight Fan TV Live. Remember, guys, persistence beats resistance. It's the master aficionado. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit that notification bell button on the channel to get all your notifications. Make sure you like and subscribe to the Coach's Corner also. And follow my boy Hano, the way you pronounce it, and get all that good stuff and good content. You know where it is.
Yeah, thank you. Now you pronounce it right the first time, Hanu. So yeah. Okay. So boxing stuff done. Um, might upload a little video tomorrow for the rugby championship, of course. Rugby. Doing that. So every sport will be covering. Watch rooms this weekend. Might on Sunday. Might do some and yeah. Um, and I can say it on my channel. After the stream earlier I went on to a Spurs channel for Spurs fan, and he's very confident they're going to win. So after the stream backstage, I said to let's make a bet, not on money on anything. If Chelsea beat Tottenham, I will have a whole panel. I will get many Chelsea fans, have them on, throw Tottenham on his channel, and the other way around if Tottenham beats us. But they're not going to beat us. So yeah.
So, what are you? You're a Chelsea fan, I take it.
Yeah, up
Okay.
the Chelsea. Yeah. Who do you support in football?
Crystal Palace.
Oh, good luck. just beat Liverpool, just beat Liverpool, Tottenham, and City. That's all I can. And Arsenal. Can
Okay.
beat Arsenal, that's a plus. But beat Liverpool, it's always fun to see Liverpool fans melt down. So yeah. Chris says he he likes you giving your honest thoughts. Um, I wasn't born before Chelsea got bought by Roman, so you can't use that on me. um, so yeah, Chris says take care, everyone. See you all on the next stream.